And so let me conclude by talking a little bit about some of our friends, some of the same friends that I started this speech with. I have friends, maybe you have some who are like this. I have friends who, with great nostalgia and fondness, declare with some pride, too, that they marched, that they were there during the Civil Rights era. It's funny how many people marched, even people too young to have been alive then. But I like to take my friends at face value to trust their word. You know, no one ever remembers being part of the angry mob outside Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957, throwing tomatoes and blockading the entrance so that federal troops had to be called out to escort school children in to classrooms that would be integrated. No one remembers those scenes that you can still see in photographs and newsreels in the Norman Rockwell paintings, for those of you who recall them, showing that ordinary folks, decent men and women, I am sure, to people of their own kind, who they considered equals, that they could be angry, they could have hatred written on their face, because they did not wish to have the prospect of sharing the bounty of this land and society with others whom they believed were not like them. Well, be that as it may, let's just talk for a moment about our friends. Because some of these friends who remember so fondly marching, and I'll bet you can picture someone like this as I describe him or her, they're now disillusioned, they're embittered. They say, well, I'm suffering from compassion fatigue. I'm just sick and tired of hearing about other people's problems. Do you have friends like this? They say, that was then, this is now. But how come we're still at it? How come 50 years plus after the Supreme Court decided Brown versus Board of Education, 40 years after civil rights laws were passed, after we've made all this progress, why do we still have affirmative action, they ask? Why do we still talk about these issues? Do we have organizations, sensitivity training, heritage months? They wish that it would all end, be over. You know, when these friends of ours, when they say that they're sick and tired of hearing about other people's problems, I always wonder what they think it must be like to live with those problems. As that great activist of that era, Fannie Lou Hamer, once said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Do you have friends like this? They just, with a sense of almost desperation that's palpable, they say, when is it over? When does it end? They just wish that we could stop talking about race and ethnicity. And when they ask that, almost as if it were a plea, I answer, I don't think it will be over. I don't think it should end. And they shake their heads. They say, oh, what a cynic you are. I say, no, I'm an optimist. I'm a believer in the American dream. This is what I mean. Allow me to offer a law professor's stock in trade, an analogy. Maybe there's an analogy to be drawn between diversity on the one hand and democracy on the other hand. Consider democracy for just a moment. This November, we will cast our ballots in elections that are historic. Now, it doesn't matter for my purposes what candidate you support or what cause or what party. Just think for a moment as you go to your polling place to cast your ballot, to exercise your right as a citizen, to fulfill your responsibilities. Think for a moment if the man or the woman standing in front of you at that local school or wherever it is that you've gone and you're standing in line patiently waiting, if that person turned to you and said, elections, voting, when is it over? When does it end? We just voted 2 years ago. They're going to make us do this again, I'll bet. You would know this person doesn't get it. They missed an important civics class in high school. They don't understand that democracy is a process, not an outcome. That the point of democracy is for all of us to be engaged and to invite others, to roll up our sleeves, and frustrating though it may be from time to time, to stand up and speak out, to knock on doors, to support candidates and causes that we believe in, to ensure that the issues are debated and discussed. It would be a tragedy if that were ever to end. The point of democracy is participation, is civic activity. That is the invention of the new world, of the United States of America. It is what we offer to others, what they seek to emulate. Well, maybe. Maybe diversity is just the same. It's a process, not an outcome. And if we understand that, we will no longer be disillusioned. We will instead be empowered. We will understand that these issues remain with us. They will be with us for our children and our grandchildren, that we continually make progress, but we set the bar ever higher. That race is not literally black and white, it is not figuratively black and white, that we all belong, that it is complex and ambiguous, it is the great American experiment that we are a part of, a living experiment. And if we see this, we can give voice to our parents, our grandparents, to immigrants, to those communities that are unheard, that are marginalized. We can come together to create a new mainstream. This is the dream that I have, that I hope some of you share. It is what is represented by CAA and its great work over these many years. It is what we support, a diverse democracy. I'm confident that if we work together, but only if we work together, those of us in this room, we will make good on the promise of a diverse democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Brother, your voice is low and sexy, man. I think I'm going to have you and Vin sing karaoke for us at the end of the program tonight. Frank, thank you so much for being our keynote speaker tonight. Vin has a special presentation, a book by him, Mark Lai, for you. Thank you for joining us tonight and sharing with us your thoughts.